one.
Good evening, everyone. This is Marcy Schachter in Vancouver. We're talking about hormone health, and are you feeling hormotional? Because we all have many things going on in our bodies, and the hormone circus that sometimes does a little dance can put us into a state of anxiety or frustration, irritability, lack of focus. And so I've invited some ladies that each of us have been through our own challenges and learning how to work with, improving our health and the endocrine system, which is the hormones that regulate pretty much every function in our body. So we're doing this series. I just want to make an announcement also. At the end of the month, anybody who registers online for this series will be entered into a draw to win something really cool, which I will announce a little bit later. So
we actually have 30 people on the list already. So,
all right, good. So I'll start off because I know Kathy Doman has to go shortly. So I'm just going to ask a question of everybody who's the guest here today, starting with Kathy. Are you there, Kathy Doman?
I'm here. Hi, everybody.
Okay. So yes, Kathy, you've been going through some changes in diet and supplementation and learning about how to manage your own hormonal health from the emotional and mental, focus. Anything that you could share about that experience in the last little while, because you've been doing some new things.
What's really interesting, Marcy, is that I went through menopause at 40. Like I thought that my hormones were fine. I never even had a hot flash when I went through menopause. So I didn't really think I had hormonal issues, but I was interested in trying a supplement that said you never know what you don't know. So I got on this supplement, and it was a huge difference for me. And let me tell you this, because anybody here have a mother that's aging? Or a parent that's aging? All right. So I love my mother. And I do. Let me just preface that by saying I love her.
We love her too.
Yeah, she's a superwoman. She's 86, but she can drive me crazy, right? And she knows that. So I'm not speaking out of turn. And at times I felt I was just so impatient with her. And I was really angry with myself for being impatient with her because she's aging. Since I adjusted my hormones and gotten back into balance, it was incredible. I am so patient with her. She had lost her license and she's disputed that, so she's now got a learner's license, and she's going back to have a road safety test. So I'm now going with her, practicing with her to drive. That takes an incredible amount of patience. We have not had one blow up. We have not had one flare up. I mean, it's incredible. It has totally changed our relationship because I'm calm. And I didn't know that my hormones were out of balance. I mean, that's the key thing. I thought I was fine. I really don't need to try anything to shift that. But I know so many friends that are taking hormone replacement therapy, and they're going crazy on it because there's a lot of synthetics in there. And I can tell when they're agitated. Like, you can tell they're just they're upset because they're taking something that's synthetic. They don't want to be on it. But if they're not on it, they go crazy. Their hot flashes come back. They're cranky. They don't sleep. They're sweating all night. I mean, it's just a horrible thing when your hormones are out of balance. But that's been my personal experience, that you don't know what you don't know until they get back into balance. And then you realize, oh my gosh, I've been impatient. I've been cranky. I've been quick to flare up. And that's not happening anymore. So.
Yes. You look pretty calm, cool, and happy to me. I understand that, because that was me, and I was being crabby all the time with my husband. And he would ask me a question. I'd be in the middle of working on a project. He'd walk in, ask me a question. I'd kind of bite his head off. And I'm drinking my happy hormone drink right now, which helps me keep happy and calm. And I know that food plays a big part. And I've got a chef on the call here tonight, Lavena. If you want to jump on, I'll introduce you. She's a raw vegan food chef who owns a restaurant in Vancouver called Indigo Age Cafe. Are you there with us, Lavena? Lavena? I see her name, but she's not got her speaker on. There's a microphone line through the microphone. Can you see that on your screen?
Oh, she's been unmuted. You should be able to hear her.
Okay.
Can you hear me right now?
Yes, we can. We can't.
Okay, excellent.
Can't see you.
Sorry, I'm doing this first time. Never been on meetings
First
like
time.
this and never.
Okay. Well, you heard what I said. You're an amazing chef and you know a lot about food and healing the body because, you know, you're working on that yourself. So I just asking the women to share anything that you've been discovering about hormone health from the emotional focus, anything you've been discovering with regard to food and also supplementation that you're experiencing that you go ahead and share.
Yeah, for me, basically, I'm doing restaurant business for 7 years. Even we are super healthy business with making very healthy food. I teach people about health and wellness for pretty long period of time. But let's say for me, by having stress every single day, I start to feel completely disbalanced in my life. And it's when I know, I start to ask, okay, what the product could be for the help. Yeah, because when you wake up in the morning and you don't have even stress to get up from the bed, it's very hard. And when you feel like, oh, I don't want to do anything anymore, yeah, it's a pretty hard feelings. And you start even to feel your age. And most important, I am grandma, as basically I start to feel this kind of feelings that it's less energy, less motivation. It starts with hot flashes too, and it's exhausted you during the night time. And all these changes in your body when you start to gain weight and you basically have no idea what's going on in your body. It's like you're a teenager again. What's going on? You don't know. And I know that Marcy doing this business for pretty long period of time. As I ask her, do you have anything to help me? She said that this hormonal product is basically helps. I start to drink, but I just took 2 bottles and I went to Dubai to meet my daughter. And I was surprised that this 2 bottles, basically after I start to drink, maybe after first bottle, first of all, I forget about flushes. Yeah, they disappear completely. That it's a big deal because maybe you start to gain weight, has less energy, but if you don't have these hot flashes, it's already big relief. As I lost these flashes, and after months, my period come back, and I have on regular basis right now. So it's kind of, I don't like the period, I don't like all this stuff, but it feels like your body is young again. As it's kind of oh, what's going on? I am still young. I know I'm not very old, 52 years old, but still it's probably goes through some process in my body. As I'm very happy with this immune imbalance, is what I would like to share. For me, it's a big release, and I wish I would have blood test and see what's going on with your system. Yeah, why it's getting this reaction. Yeah, why, how, I don't know how these hormones actually works in your body, but it's amazing that you can feel release. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And she's talking about the balance product that Evolve came out with in October. And I would agree, it's just made a massive difference for me as well. And we can do things with our diet to improve the hormonal symptoms that are happening. But to have something that's really simple that you can take every day, I know how it's made my life just a lot easier as well. So I've also got Marilyn on here, and Marilyn, you too have been experiencing some things that hormonal shifts going on. Maybe you'd like to just quickly share. And I'm going to come back around to everybody. So just a minute or so, I want to have another sort of level of conversation before Kathy has to jump off.
Sure. I've noticed that my skin has changed with hormones. My skin, it just gets dry and old looking for some reason, and I've also noticed that when sugar plays a big effect in hormonal balance. I know that if I have a lot of sugar, and sometimes we have those cravings, I can feel like I'm going crazy afterwards. or I wake up and I feel so sluggish and it's horrible. So then I put two and two together and I stop doing, it's having anything sweet. I try not to have anything sweet at all, but when you get those cravings, then, it's like cookies at night when you're watching your favorite show or something like that. And I noticed that as soon as I do that, I cannot wake up in the morning. It's really, really hard. And I just think that just plays such a havoc on your hormones and in your behavior as well. Not only are you're miserable, you're moody. It's not a good thing.
Yeah. I'm going to ask a question of all of you before, again, Kathy has to jump off. So I think that, a lot of women, and we're all business women on this call. I'm pretty sure that most of the ladies meeting people are solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, and have a lot of, some of them have children, grandchildren, jobs, and the stresses that are really plaguing a lot of women to balance all of this in their life. And we're putting so much focus on success and trying to achieve our goals in our business that sometimes we neglect our health. So I know for me, until things got really bad, I didn't change my diet. I didn't give up those things that I craved. And when they got really bad and the end was in sight, I thought, that's it. I have to make this mental shift. And I think once women do that, they feel empowered and they do look younger. And I know for a fact that I look at least probably 10 years younger than the photo I have from 5 years ago. If anybody wants to see that before picture, I'll be happy to share it. So any one of you would like to comment on that, just add something in experience?
I would like to add not my personal experience, Marcy, but my daughter's.
Okay, sure.
I have my daughter Reagan in a program similar to me, which is actually we are using balance as well. But she's 40, and she has been completely disabled with her menstrual cycle. And by disabled, I mean not just emotionally, but physically. I mean, it will really put her down, and it has for 20 years, for 3 to 4 days. And because of her will and sheer will alone, she gets up and makes life happen, but she is in severe pain, and she's very irritable, owly. She just has to say hello, and I know, But these last 3 months, it has been absolutely effortless, the first time in her life, which to me is so significant. And she has changed her diet, Marcy.
Yeah.
Which is a huge factor in this as well. So she's eating healthy. She's taking the supplements which help her, and her diet. We didn't expect this to be one of the outcomes, and it's just a gift.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that, Valerie. Yeah.
Hi, Anissa here. I think that somehow we got away from diet being important because we got so, as we were, I know when I was raising kids, it was just like, and I had a kid with ADHD where diet was the most important thing in our life, because if he didn't get the oils, he did not have a good day at school. And we forget that. How come when our kids moved out, we forgot that we needed to keep taking that advice as well? It's funny. And my daughter has Hashimoto's syndrome. She's 25 now, and she's managed that through 2 pregnancies. And it's exhausting, but it's a matter of, the research says that if we eat good food, we're going to do better. If we're exercising, we're going to do better. And when did making money become more important than our health?
Yeah, I agree. I'm so glad we're doing this hormone talk, because
I
have Hashimoto's too, Anissa.
Oh,
and changing my diet has totally put that into focus in a much more manageable way. It's been phenomenal, the change it's been on my personal well-being and physical well-being.
Yeah, she spent a lot of time researching it and found that cutting out a lot of meat and a lot of the traditional stuff that her husband wants to eat it doesn't work for her, right? And she does a lot of different things with health, but now she's got 2 kids, and the pressure's going to be on to keep the energy, keep the health, and she does a daycare, full-time daycare as well.
I think that all of us could agree that food is super important. And, I grew up in a family where my mother was very conscious about buying whole wheat before it was trendy and keeping a low amount of sugar in our diets. But, under stress, unfortunately, I think all of us can succumb because I know that's the first time I will fall off the wagon and have a bag of chips is if I'm under great stress and I kind of go, oh, I just want to, or I want a glass of wine or whatever. So somebody says, you do not look old enough to be a grandmother, Anissa. I agree.
48. My daughter had kids the same year as I did. 22 and 24. We're matching set. She bought her first house the same time I did.
I can say that by working in a restaurant with wellness industry and teaching people for about 10 years about how to eat and what to put in their meals, I saw results after results after results. It's unbelievable what food can do for us. But if you not eliminate stress somehow and you will not balance your life, even food cannot help. Like food, it's a just big, but stress, it's equal. You can eat very healthy, have stressful life, and they get sick. But yeah, like vegan, gluten-free, diabetic-friendly, no sugars, all this very clean, like not bad oils, always going to change for better. Like, and I saw results when people come in with like amazing results, even without doctors, without pills, like eliminate diabetes just by eating properly.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think too that we always, you know, the books where it's the top 5 people that you spend time around is going to reflect your income, but I think more importantly, it's going to reflect your health as well. One of the reasons I moved to Whistler is because I knew I wanted to age backwards. It was a very conscious decision. I actually have a job in a sales and marketing at Whistler Core. So I'm around people all day who want to be in their best condition. Our average age in our weightlifting pump class is mid-40s. You know, so we're like no other community on earth. And this is what I wanted to surround myself with. So, you know, what I challenge people to do is surround yourself with people who have the same health goals, not just the financial goals. And you can find both. I mean, I hang out with millionaires all day, you know, who are coming through the results. And you know, it's not just about money though. Like you can find both people that want to be happy, healthy, and financially fit.
Yeah. And you need all 3 legs of that stool. You know, to have your finances and not have your health, it means it's unbalanced. You know, to have your health and no finances is not balanced. And there's also a 3-legged stool. I was reading an article about restoring your hormonal health. It starts with, that balance to have healthy digestion and stable sugar levels, a well-functioning liver, and addressing liver health can be done through many different ways. People do liver detoxes. There's lots of things you can do, but unfortunately our food supply, we've talked about this, Lavenna, and I know Valerie and Marilyn who are working with me. We all know that we want to eat really good food, but sometimes we cut the corners. And so we pay the price for being in the fast lane in our lives and busy, and we might not eat everything whole food. And that processed food can cause so many problems with the hormonal issues that women are having, brain fog. Sugar can cause problems, not enough serotonin in the brain, lack of vitamins, not getting the nutrients absorbed into our cells. And I'm going to put a white paper up on the page here after we're done today to share with other women about some of the foods that can help with anxiety and stress. They're really good articles out there if people want to look. And there's so many things we can just do simply, you know.
Well, it's funny because, as you know, I'm a business coach as well. And something that's come up a lot this week is overwhelm, that feeling of overwhelm. And I don't think people are truly reflecting on the fact that it's not just the amount of things they're doing, it's how they're choosing, how their body is tired or stressed or not being fed properly. Yeah. That they're feeling overwhelmed. I mean, a lot of us have business turning. We know take care of what's on fire first and then put everything into their categories. And we know this, but if we can't access that because we've had too much sugar, too much caffeine, too much wine the night before, somewhere having a glass of wine every night became cool. And I'm guilty. I'm like, stop by for a glass of wine. But then all of a sudden it does start to affect you in gradual ways.
Yeah. And the sugar as well. Sugar is one of the worst for a lot of people I've seen going off sugar in the last 2 years. For me, it's made a massive difference. And I'm not saying I never have it, but I'm very aware when I do. And
well, I would say that just cutting cream and sugar out of my coffee, I would say that's part of how I dropped 50 pounds. It's such a simple thing, but I drink 2 cups of coffee a day, and I've eliminated sugar, and I've eliminated cream. I still take milk in it sometimes. But I mean, sometimes just those simple shifts in building a new habit.
Yeah, and having to get to the body level weight-wise that we want to get to, that affects us too. You know, we're dragging our buns around because we're feeling bloated and fat and tired and, you know, miserable. So anybody want to add anything about the emotional benefits to looking after your hormones that you've experienced, especially those that have been doing change in their diet and maybe adding the supplements? Anybody just jump in.
Well, I know living in a cold climate, one of the first things I always recommend to the girls that move here from Australia is to start take vitamin D, because it affects your pituitary gland. It affects everything, not getting that vitamin D.
Mm-hmm.
That would be probably one of the number one things that I think has been amazing. Never mind the balance of everything else as well. I mean, I grow sprouts on my counter as well. So just having that living food in your diet is huge.
Absolutely. I know that the products that I've been taking more of, like avocados, I looked up the 8 foods that deal with anxiety and stress, and I'm eating all of them. So they're asparagus, avocados, blueberries, turkey. Turkey gives you that, tryptophan effect. Almonds, yogurt, spinach, salmon, and I love all those foods. So even just doing that, can deal with the deficiency and help with lowering the anxiety. So does Lavina or Valerie or Marilyn want to add anything as we're coming to?
Yeah, I think just generally cook simple food home, choose your ingredients, and go less to restaurants and coffee shops to eat. Because even it's a good food, it feels like fresh. We're not asking enough questions. We don't know if it's organic, not organic, where it's come from. And smallest ingredients like ginger, it comes from China, like garlic comes from China. It's a lot of ingredients in the restaurants that like canola oil, genetically modified, that 99% of restaurants using all the time just to save money. And this is a huge ingredient, like that can load a lot of toxins in our body. As people who very busy usually ending up to eat in the restaurants. I'm in the restaurant industry, I'm happy about this, but I know that when I'm going to restaurant, I cannot find even restaurants that not using canola oils that very, very toxic and genetically modified, and try to ask all these questions in from the restaurant, not everyone happy to answer. I think the key is a cook home, very simple food, and maybe to put in your mind that we all enjoy eating, but maybe to find joy in something else, not just in the food, to find spark in something, maybe reading, dancing, hiking, mountain, like something that you really like to do, maybe to follow and laugh, but not love for the food all the time, because this can people who likes to go like foodies from one place to another place and eat all the time, I think this causes a lot of problems.
Well, we've started a new tradition, and I learned it from some friends from Finland and England. And instead of going out to dinner, we cook a meal together, and it makes a huge difference.
Love it. Yeah, I do that all the time. I'm a Thermi lady with my Thermomix, and my friends now know if they're coming to my house, they're getting fed. That's how it works, So I've got a couple of more minutes, to maybe 10 more minutes to wrap it up here. So is there anything, Marilyn, you want to add in? Because I know you've done some things and lost some weight, and Valerie as well. You've done some things and really shifted your health. Would you like to share some of those things that you've been doing?
I've learned to use different oils, again, olive oil, or even I don't cook with much oil or butter, but I've switched over to the so-called healthy butter, which is the Kerrygold butter, grass-fed butter. I've done that, and the amazing thing is, I never thought that I would help me lose weight by having healthy fats in my body. Like instead of having a peanut butter cracker as a snack, I use almonds. I'll take the almonds as a snack. And I'll have an avocado. I've never could acquire a taste for an avocado, but I found that, you eat it enough, you acquire a taste for it, and then all of a sudden you crave it. You like it. So I've done a lot of things like that. I've also do MCT oil like in my coffee in the morning. So I don't get a lot of healthy fats. So I try to put the healthy fats in my body so that because I don't eat a whole lot during the day, and it's not really good not to eat. But I feel as if when I do that, it's I'm not as hungry for a long period of time, and I know that it's good for me. So I'll try to do stuff like that in order to lose weight. But also with the supplements, I found that I was not even having to watch that much, and I've lost quite a bit of weight.
How much have you lost?
Well, I was 143, and now I'm down to 128. And that's only, yes, and that is only, and the only thing that I've changed was the supplement, and all of a sudden I start noticing that it was just weird. My skin changed, my body changed, the formation of my body changed, and I don't understand it, but I'm loving it.
That's good. We always have to know why.
Yes.
All right. And Valerie, you
But what supplements you taking?
Oh, I take the balance.
Balance.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that I was going to add is to Anissa, I never had cream in my coffee before, Anissa, but I now do. And so I felt, I understand your joy and excitement for not having sugar in your coffee or cream in your coffee and losing 50 pounds, and all the power to you. But here's the interesting thing for me. There's so many different eating programs out there and healthy eating programs out there. So I'm not on what you would call keto, hard keto. It's a soft keto. It's 50% fat, like 20% carbs and 30% protein, let's say. And I'm never feeling hungry. I'm always feeling nourished and like a little well-fed Jersey cow. And I just, my skin has changed. I just feel so healthy, and I'm able to indulge with those little extra things like that cream and coffee, which I never had before. And it almost feels like like I feel nourished.
We got to introduce you to bulletproof coffee then. Sounds like Marilyn.
Well, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, and if you take your grass-fed butter and you take it down into a ghee and add that in with your MTC, it'll taste like cream in your coffee. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. And grass-fed butter is so medicinal.
Mm-hmm.
It's butter, but it's medicine, because food is medicine.
Well, when you purify it into ghee, you take it to the next level, and it becomes this caramel flavor that you'll fall in love with as well.
Oh, it's delicious.
Really, I'll have to try that. It's scary.
I
just can't get to it yet, to the ghee.
Oh, well.
The name of it, I think, turns me right off. I don't know.
Try it. Just try it.
But I will try it.
Just clarified butter. All it is clarified butter, Marilyn.
All you're going to do is take your pound of butter and you're going to put it on the lowest temperature overnight. And in the morning, the bottom will be caramelized. If you have a warming pad on your oven, or you can put it in the oven on a low temperature, and it'll just caramelize all the bad stuff out of it, and you'll have a beautiful, beautiful flavor, and it'll be great in your bulletproof coffee along with your MCT oil.
Oh, really? So you do this yourself?
Sorry.
Oh, wow.
Buy it. It's expensive to buy. You can make it.
It's expensive to buy. That's probably why I went to buy it, and I was like, whoa.
Just Google it. There's tons of videos. Watch 10 videos on it first. And
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Oh, my God. Made my night.
I have to get myself making some ghee. I made it in my Thermomix, and it was delicious.
Wow.
I've got a few things I just want to kind of share with the group here, because there'll be people watching this later. There's so many things that we can all learn from each other about food and nutrition and how to manage stress in our life. And I think that the real crux of it is that it has to become a priority to look after our health. As Anissa mentioned, we're all busy. And when you have children and, when they're growing up and you're trying to manage their schedules and your schedules and the husband's schedules, very easy to put yourself last. But the cost is very, very high when we do that, because it's like putting the oxygen mask on us. How can we be a good wife, a good mother, a good friend, a good colleague if we're working ourselves to death and we're not nourishing ourselves with really good nutrition? And hormones actually are so vital to your health. And a lot of women, we're under the I don't know, misinformation that hormones were only really when you had PMS and you knew your hormones as a young woman were kind of going all over the place, that roller coaster of PMS, or when you go into menopause. So what I'm learning and sharing as I go along is that we have a whole endocrine system, and there's so many different symptoms that you could not even realize are caused by hormone imbalance. And you can improve your mental capacity, meaning you'll get more income if you do the right things. So you may not have to work quite as hard or as long if you're more productive in the hours you're working, because you've got better mental capacity. You're easier to get along with. You're going to have a better sleep because your hormones balance is going to affect your sleep. It's going to affect your appetite. It's going to affect your digestion. It's going to affect your mood. It's going to affect your sex life. It's all these things that we can, what sex life she's saying. But we want to have that, experience of feeling alive again. And you can see these women, we're all in our 50s, 60s. I don't think we look our age. And so we're obviously doing some things right. And I hope some of the young women listening to this take heed that you don't have to age. Really, we can turn back the clock, and I'm all for that. Like I'm calling myself 29 right now and nobody's arguing with me. So a final note for anybody wanting, share anything in particular about mental and focus that's improved, or what you're doing to, in a good place when you're doing your day. Not just food, but anything that you do, whether you meditate or go for a walk in the woods or body at the same time.
Well, one thing I found is I'm both. I can't remember how many years. My son's 22, and he's gone, and I've let a lot of emotional things go. Or as Gina's our speaker at the ladies' meeting, she's just like, just get shit done, forget about it, don't worry about what other people think. And getting to that age where I don't care so much about what other people think, I think has been part of the weight loss. I think that when we emotionally let things go, we let go of some of the stuff that's being stored in our cells emotionally. And I don't think we talk about that enough. As women, we have a lot of ingrained, built-in guilt for not doing things right, not achieving our goals, maybe not treating our children right, not having the right marriage, not blah. Yeah. And sometimes once we've taken care of the health part and we let go of that stuff, sometimes they come together, right? And I really challenge people to let that stuff go and just worry less about what other people think.
I agree. The longer I live, the less I care about what other people think of me. And what they think of me is none of my business.
Exactly.
It really isn't. I don't know. I learned that a while ago, and it really helps me. All righty. So we're at the last few minutes. Anybody want to add anything that you want to share? And if not, then we'll send out some information. And I would love to share some of the things that I'm doing on a document that, from diet perspective, but also other ideas that, it could be, it's just a walk in the woods for some of us that really can make the difference between letting go of some stress and making that a priority. Because for me, that used to be the last thing on my list was exercise. I would lie down until the thought passed. That's what I used to say about exercise. So now it's a part of my everyday. I really make it a priority.
Yeah, I joined the 5 a.m. club this week, which is you get up, the goal is to get up 3 hours before you need to go to work. Or when I have to go to work at 7, I got up at 5 to get to work for 7. And making the writing, the exercise, the food as a priority. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I really would like to thank Marcy for offering this series and helping us launch the roundtable discussions and the roundtable podcast on the ladies meeting. If you want to find her white paper, we will have it on theladiesmeeting.com/roundtable. Our podcast is actually just going to be a shortened version of our other podcast, which is can be found on Anchor FM/ladies meeting. If you want to get to know our members, it's /the ladies meeting. So we interview each other and get to know each other more deeply. And if you want to come out and meet us in person, you can go to the ladies meeting and find our live events as well. We'd love to see. I know there's a few people I've seen before, and we'll have comment boxes, and we'll have some competitions for some gifts that Marcy is going to offer. And we'll get these up on YouTube as well. So thank you very much. This has been amazing. And we've got 5 more to go. So do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Do subscribe to the podcast and listen on with us.
Fantastic.
Okay, thank you.
We'll be
Nice
back.
to meet you, Bill.
Okay, we'll see you the same time next week, Wednesday at 6.
Thanks, guys.
I'm just going to stop the recording now.